G'day, welcome back to the channel. I want you to listen to this. This is the air traffic control dialogue between the pilot of a United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX taking off from San Francisco Airport headed to Denver. This is the conversation.
Hey, we got a problem. We just hit a drone. Stand by for a second. We'll go to NorCal, but we got to see what we're doing here.
That's right. He has just reported what we all feared. We have a problem. We just hit a drone. Now, for years and years, we, the drone community and the public, have been told that drones are a menace to airliners. You know, sooner or later, airliners are going to hit a drone, people will die. It's only a matter of time. And we've seen many, many reported instances where drones have hit airliners and turned out to be shopping bags or bats or perhaps sometimes nothing at all because structural failures attributed to drones that were just structural failures. So is this the first time? Is this a real drone hits airliner incident? Well, if we listen to more of the dialogue, you get a bit of a hint.
Okay, and you said you hit a drone?
I think so.
I think so. So the pilot's gone from, hey, we hit a drone to, I think we hit a drone. And then a little later on in the conversation, he's heard to say,
United 1003, we're going to need some vectors around here to figure out what's going on. We may have hit a drone. We're trying to figure out what would happen.
We may have hit a drone. So why did the pilot jump immediately to the conclusion it was a drone? It was a bang, something hit the airplane. It's a drone! It defies logic and explanation because if we look at the data, you know, the things that regulators and administrators and people with an anti-drone agenda refuse to acknowledge, the facts, the evidence over a decade. If we look at the evidence, bird strikes are very common in aviation. They cause over $400 million a year in damage to aircraft. Drone strikes are virtually non-existent. On an average year, they cause nothing, no damage at all to aircraft. So if you have a sudden bang on your airliner taking off, what would you, if you were just a sane, normal person without an agenda, what would you tend to think? Oh, a bird strike, or oh, a drone strike. Now, the fact that this pilot jumped to the conclusion it was a drone speaks to an agenda. It's the only thing I can think of. There is an agenda to vilify drones. Why? Because we know it is many orders of magnitude more likely that his plane hit a bird, because that happens all the time, every day, all around the world. Drone strikes, well, we don't have the evidence of them being a thing. So I'm going to say to the airline pilots, stop it now. You know, for too long, anything that you can't identify has been labelled a drone. We know that in the UK, the British Airline Pilots Association sent out a memo to all their members saying if you see something that you can't identify, report it as a drone sighting. Why? I mean, did you notice that back in the 60s and 70s, airline pilots saw a lot of UFOs. There were a lot of UFO sightings from airline pilots. Then, none. Now it's all drone sightings. Why do you think that is? Is it because aliens have stopped visiting? Or is it simply because there's a directive, hey, if you see something you can't explain, call it a drone? No, it's not good enough. It is unfairly defaming the drone community, the hobbyists and even the commercial operators. We are not the villains we're made out to be. It is ridiculous. This is crazy. And to show you just how stupid it is, if we listened a little further on in this interchange or this air traffic control broadcast, listen to this.
All right, American 1198, we're clear for takeoff. We just had some kind of wildlife run across the runway. It's clear of the runway, but just crossing.
Yeah, that's right. America 1198 reported seeing some wildlife running across the runway at SFO. Wildlife. Are you sure it wasn't a drone? I mean, seriously. So animals are the big problem. Animals on the runway, animals in the air, they are the big problem. It's not drones at all. And besides, we know this couldn't have happened because this happened just today. And as of March the 16th, remote ID is in effect. And we've been told by the regulators, oh, remote ID solves everything. We have to have remote ID for safety and security. So why would it be that we'd have the first actual evidence of a drone striking an airliner after remote ID came in? If remote ID is so good, surely that could never happen. But remote ID in itself is just a complete fiasco, and we've had, what now, a couple of weeks, is it? Maybe a week, I don't know, I can't add up. But we've had a period of time now where remote ID has been in effect. And remember that FAA video that they put out? The one where, you know, little Johnny's flying his drone in the park and there's a police officer there or whatever looking out, and he sees that Johnny has got remote ID and his flight's okay, and then there's another flight and it's authorized. And you know, they when they get a drone appearing, they look on their app and they reference it back to the database, and he's valid. Oh, this is suspicious. They know immediately which are the good actors and which are the bad actors. Well, in Las Vegas this week, according to a Facebook post from someone who was actually there was a guy doing some commercial drone work, Now, he had all his tickets, 107, he had Lance approval, he had everything in, all his ducks in a row, everything was legit, had remote ID on his drone, and within a few minutes of him taking off, 6 police cars rolled up. 6 police cars rolled up, demanding to see all his paperwork and everything. But he was doing everything right. He was Johnny in the Park. Why, in the era of remote ID, was he being accosted and accused and made to prove himself innocent? But he had remote ID. And surely the authorities involved could have looked at the remote ID signal, checked on the database to make sure he had Lance approval, and they could have found out who he was. He shouldn't have had to produce ID and 107 cards and that sort of stuff. Remote ID is not working. It's not working as advertised, is it? If he'd been flying without remote ID and not flying a DJI drone, so he didn't show up on an aeroscope, then chances are he could have done whatever he liked without the police even knowing. So remote ID is penalising the honest, compliant people, yet the bad actors can carry on with impunity. It's exactly the wrong way. It's working exactly 180 degrees to the way it was supposed to work. We've been sold a lie, apparently, based on the evidence and the facts to hand. So this is just a giant mess. So I'm calling on all these parties, regulators, the media, airline pilots, stop telling lies. Just please listen to the facts, listen to the evidence, listen to the reasoned, logical arguments of a community that is being oppressed by agendas. And some of these are silent agendas, but we know some of the agendas that are in place here. I'm not a conspiracy nut. I don't believe the earth is flat. But we have to acknowledge that there are some very rich, very powerful corporations seeking to have control of our airspace, the country's airspace, for commercial gain. And they see no place for a hobby in that plan they have. It's going to be eVTOL taxis and drone deliveries. No place for people having fun. My goodness. And if you are going to have fun, you'll have to be taxed. So that's my little rant for today. And it had to be a rant because the world has gone to a very strange place right now. What's safe is dangerous. What's legal is illegal. George Orwell, 1984. Peace is war. I don't know. Anyway, if you haven't read George Orwell's 1984 novel, read it. It's a great read because it was supposed to be a work of fiction. It's turned out to be a prophecy. Honestly, it really has. But there we go. Now, comments. Tell me what you think. Am I overreacting to this when airline pilots, and first thing they think of is, it's a drone, when we know that the preponderance of evidence suggests it's anything but a drone? Yeah, how are we going to push back as a community? Because if we don't push back, we're just going to be continuously marginalised out of the skies, and that's not a good thing. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've got lots of work to do. I shall go and do it. Bye for now.
Overregulation is like a tumor. It's killing our hobby. It must be terminated. Now!